The morning sun melted softly over Dahan Hills, painting the glass villas a warm gold. Rich people walked their tiny dogs. Electric cars hummed quietly along the marble roads. The neighborhood looked peaceful, elegant, almost too perfect. In Villa 34, Jennifer was finishing her morning routine. Her daughter, Nala, was already dressed in a pink hoodie, humming cartoon songs while eating her cereal. Jennifer watched her with a smile. That smile every mother wears when she feels blessed to still have something to protect. Jennifer was beautiful in a way that felt effortless. Deep brown skin glowing from the morning light, thick thighs under white shorts, and a calm, quiet aura that made people wonder who she was. A single mother, a widow, a remote worker who earned well enough to live in a place where even the air felt expensive. Jennifer's life was peaceful now, but the road to peace had been painful. Her husband died when she was still pregnant. His sudden heart failure left her carrying a child alone, grieving alone, giving birth alone. She had felt the world collapsing under her feet. So after her daughter's first birthday, she packed up everything and moved to South Korea, a place her late husband once dreamed of visiting. She came to start fresh, and she did. She worked remotely as a business consultant for international firms, making good money. She chose a rich neighborhood on purpose, not to show off, but so her daughter could grow up safe. And for 7 years, nobody disturbed her peace. Until that day. The estate beach was artificial but breathtaking. Soft white sand, crystal blue water, palm trees lining the shore. Only residents were allowed in. Jennifer had tied her braids into a messy bun, wore a golden bikini that hugged her curves perfectly, and lay down on a beach chair, sunglasses on, enjoying the breeze. Nala played in the shallow water with her little floaties. It was a normal day, until he appeared. Jinhwan, the man they whispered about, the man everyone feared, a mafia lord hiding in plain sight. He walked along the shoreline wearing black shorts, shirt open, long hair tied into a low ponytail, tattoos crawling across his body like forbidden art. He looked like trouble, the dangerous kind women whispered about but obeyed. He was used to women falling for him, begging for his attention, blushing when he smirked, melting when he lifted a finger. Then he saw her, Jennifer, her skin glistening in the sun, her curves floating in the water, her laugh soft, pure, unbothered. Something in him stopped. His breath, his focus, his ego. She didn't look like the women he used. She looked like a goddess resting after defeating the world. His body reacted instantly, embarrassingly so. He cursed under his breath, unable to control himself. "Damn," he muttered, looking away before someone noticed the outline forming in his shorts. But the more he avoided looking, the more he looked. And finally, he walked toward her, confidence dripping from every step. He stopped near her beach chair. "You," he said, voice deep, "come have lunch with me." Jennifer removed her sunglasses slowly. "Who are you talking to?" "You," he repeated arrogantly. "I don't ask twice." She blinked, then laughed. "Sir, please, you're blocking my son." He frowned, confused. "Women don't reject me." She raised an eyebrow. "What do you want? A trophy?" "You're beautiful," he said honestly. "I want you." She sighed as if he were a mosquito disturbing her peace. "Security." Jinhwan's jaw dropped. "Excuse me? You're disturbing me. I didn't invite you. Go." The nearest security guard approached in confusion. "Ma'am, is everything okay?" "Yes," she said calmly. "Remove this commoner from my space." The guard froze. Jinhwan froze. Half the beach froze. The mafia lord's eye twitched. He wasn't used to being ignored, or insulted, or dismissed. "I am not a commoner," he hissed. Jennifer shrugged. "If you were important, you wouldn't dress like a background character." The security guard was now pale, terrified, because he knew exactly who this commoner was. Jinhwan took a step forward, his pride boiling. "You should know who I am." "I don't care," Jennifer said. "Move." The guard hurried over, bowing awkwardly. "Sir, she doesn't know." "Shut up," Jinhwan snapped. But Jennifer was already picking up her towel, ignoring him like he didn't exist. She took Nala's hand and walked away without looking back. And that that was the moment Jin Huan felt something he hadn't felt since childhood. Rejection, embarrassment, confusion, and something even more dangerous, curiosity. That night, Jin Huan couldn't sleep. He paced his penthouse like a tiger trapped in a glass cage. How? He growled. Did a black woman tell me no? He replayed the moment she laughed at him. The way she didn't care. The way she called him a commoner. No woman had ever humiliated him like that. He slammed his fist against the wall. Who is she? He needed her name, her address, her life history. Something about her was familiar, but he couldn't place it yet. Felt like déjà vu, a memory tugging at the back of his mind. The next morning, he walked to the estate security office. I need the house number of the black woman from the beach, he demanded. The guard gulped, terrified. Yes, sir. Giving out resident information is... Jin Huan looked at him with eyes cold enough to freeze blood. Give me her house number. 10 seconds later, he had it. He ordered the biggest, most expensive bouquet in Seoul. Taller than a child, heavier than a suitcase, covered in roses, lilies, orchids, a spectacle. Then he delivered it himself. Jennifer opened the door, saw the bouquet, then saw him. Her expression, disgust plus disbelief plus irritation. Oh God, she sighed. You again. He straightened his posture confidently. I brought you flowers. For what? For rejecting me yesterday. I accept your apology. Jennifer leaned on the doorframe, stared him dead in the eyes and said, Sir, if you ever come to my house again, I will call immigration, the police, the embassy, the president of Korea, and my ancestors. Jin Huan's mouth parted. She pushed the bouquet into his chest, slammed the door, and locked it. He stood there frozen. For the first time in his adult life, his ego cracked. What kind of witchcraft is this woman? He whispered. He walked away slowly, carrying the giant bouquet like a clown. And that was the exact moment he decided he wasn't giving up. Because Jennifer was the first woman who made the mighty Korean Mafia lord feel small. The world outside Jin Huan's penthouse continued as usual. Birds chirping over the sea. Rich neighbors walking their tiny dogs made sweeping driveways. But inside his home, the atmosphere was boiling. He had never been rejected before. Not once. Not by a trainee idol. Not by politicians' daughters. Not even by married women in luxury clubs who whispered his name like a fantasy. But a black woman in a golden bikini, living quietly in Villa 34, had shattered his ego with one sentence. Remove this commoner. And then the bouquet humiliation. The door slam. The threat to call immigration, police, embassy, president, and ancestors. His men would never let him live it down if they found out. He paced the living room again, trying to understand the unfamiliar feeling growing inside him. Is this shame? He whispered to himself. He touched his chest as if checking for damage. His pride felt bruised. His masculinity felt dented. His dignity felt rearranged. He walked to the glass wall that overlooked the entire coast. Daehan Hills sparkled below him like a jewel. How did she look at me? He muttered. Like I was some stray alley cat? He closed his eyes, replaying the moment she shoved the flowers back into his arms. The way her eyes showed annoyance instead of awe. The way her voice carried no fear. She didn't tremble. She didn't flirt. She didn't even blush. She looked at him like he was ordinary. That was what ate him alive. For the first time in years, Jin Huan felt like a man. Not a mafia throne, not a feared name, not a tattooed legend. Just a man who wanted a woman who didn't want him. And that was new, uncomfortable, addictive. At noon, he called his right-hand man, Min Jae. Min Jae entered the penthouse, saw the massive bouquet lying dead on the floor, and blinked. Hyung. Why does it look like a funeral wreath? Jin Huan glared. It's nothing. Min Jae smirked. Someone rejected you? The glare deepened. Do I look rejected? Min Jae looked at the flowers again. Yes. Jin Huan threw a cushion at him. Yeah. Who is she? Min Jae asked, laughing like he wasn't afraid of dying. Jin Huan stayed silent. Min Jae stopped laughing. His eyes widened. No way. A woman, actually. Leave before I test my knife skills, Jin Huan warned. Min Jae left the room chuckling. But even he knew something was wrong with his boss. He had never seen Jin Huan pacing like a stressed husband waiting for his wife to give birth. By evening, Jin Huan was restless. He took a cold shower. Didn't help. He tried lifting weights. Didn't help. He tried watching TV. Got annoyed and threw the remote at the wall. His mind kept going back to the way Jennifer had looked at him. Not with desire. Not with fear. But with irritation, the same expression a mother gives a toddler throwing a tantrum. And that was how his obsession began. Not out of lust. Not out of conquest. Out of confusion. He needed to understand her. Needed to know why she lived alone. Why she was so bold. Why she didn't recognize him. Why she made him feel something he hadn't felt in a long time. Human. The next morning, instead of sleeping in like usual, Jin Huan sat in his office, scrolling through security access logs. He wanted information. Everything. He typed her villa number. 34. A name appeared. Jennifer Aduk. Age 30. Nationality. Kenyan. Occupation. Remote business consultant. Resident since 2 years. Marital status. Widowed. Child. 1. Daughter. 7. His breath paused. Widowed? He leaned back slowly. So she wasn't being rude because she had a man. She wasn't being difficult because she was taken. She wasn't rejecting him because she belonged to someone else. She simply didn't want him. And that intrigued him more. He stared at her file again. The name. Jennifer. Something tugged at his memory. Jennifer. Jennifer. Where had he heard that name with that accent? A blurry memory flashed in his mind. Snow. Campus. Night lights. A girl laughing on a bench while feeding him fries. No way. He shook the thought off. Couldn't be her. He ignored the memory and stood up. This is ridiculous, he muttered. But the pull was stronger than logic. So he broke his own rules. The rules he had lived by as a mafia leader. Rule number 3, never chase a woman. Rule number 7, never show vulnerability. Rule number 10, never get involved with civilians. Jennifer broke all 3 rules. And he wasn't even mad. He was fascinated. Around noon, he did something no one ever expected of him. He dressed normally. No leather jacket. No chains. No tattoos showing. Just a clean black t-shirt and simple joggers. He wanted to see her again. Not as the mafia lord, but as a man she might actually look at without rolling her eyes. He walked to the estate playground hoping to see her. Instead, he saw her daughter, Nala. The little girl was laughing alone, kicking a ball with her tiny shoes, hair tied up in playful puffs. He watched from a distance, not in a creepy way but in a confused, emotional way. She looked familiar. Her smile, her eyes. Something stirred in him. Confusion, recognition, pain. He sat on a bench, pinching the bridge of his nose. Why does that child look like someone I knew? He whispered. He couldn't place it, but the feeling didn't leave. Later that evening, he returned home, opened his laptop, and typed her name differently. Jennifer Aduk plus Canada. He didn't expect anything. But then a photo loaded. A university event. Canada. Snow in the background. A young black woman wearing a red coat. A tall Korean man beside her smiling, short hair. No tattoos, soft eyes. His breath left his body. It was him. From 10 years ago. His hands began shaking. No. He scrolled faster. More pictures. More memories. Him holding her waist in a campus hallway. Her sleeping on his lap in the library. Him wearing her scarf because he liked her scent. It hit him like a train. The woman who rejected him, the woman who embarrassed him, the woman who called him a commoner, was the same girl he had loved in Canada. His first girlfriend. His first heartbreak. His Jennifer. Everything inside him collapsed. He slammed the laptop shut, leaned back on his chair, and covered his face with both hands. He wasn't angry. He wasn't embarrassed. He was emotional. The memories rushed in too fast. The love, the separation, the goodbye letter she never got to read because he had left in a hurry, called home by his father to take over the family business. He had changed so much. Tattoos, long hair, darkness. No wonder she didn't recognize him. He wasn't the soft boy she once loved. He had become the monster he used to fear. His throat tightened. He wiped his eyes roughly. For the first time in over 8 years, Jean Huan cried. And that was when he decided he wasn't letting Jennifer go again. Not this time. Not ever. The night was quiet in Daehan Hills, but inside Jean Huan's penthouse, nothing was calm. The world saw him as cold, brutal, untouchable. The Mafia lord whose name made gang rivals tremble. But now, sitting on the edge of his leather sofa, hands shaking, tears drying on his cheeks, he felt like the 20-year-old boy he once was. The boy who had loved Jennifer before life swallowed him whole. Before the Mafia tattoos. Before the violence. Before the empire. He stared at the old photos again, fingers trembling over the screen. There she was, young, beautiful, warm. A girl who used to rest her head on his shoulder during snowy evenings. A girl who used to drag him to Tim Hortons for cheap hot chocolate, laughing at his terrible English. A girl who used to tell him, "Jean, don't let the world change you." But the world did change him. Too much. Too deeply. He remembered the last night in Canada. The night he got the call from his father. "You're coming home. Your brother is dead. You are next in line." In a single moment, his life as a normal college boy ended. He had written Jennifer a message, a long one. But fear, confusion, grief, everything mixed, and he never sent it. He left the next morning. No goodbye, no explanation, no closure. And now she was here, older, stronger, colder toward him. He deserved it. He knew that. He leaned back against the sofa, exhaling shakily. "Jennifer," he whispered. "Why now? Why here?" He closed his eyes, trying to calm his heartbeat, but memories flooded him instead. 10 years ago, Canada, winter. Snowflakes stuck to his hair as he ran across the campus. Jennifer stood by the fountain, hands in her pockets, shivering. "You're late," she pouted. "I ran," he said, breathless. "You always run." She pushed his shoulder playfully. He pulled her close, warmed her hands in his palms. "Why do you wait for me?" he asked. She smiled softly. "Because you're worth waiting for." His heart had melted, and for the first time in his life, he kissed someone because he truly wanted to, not because he was expected to. The memory stabbed him. It hurt. It burned. It made his chest tighten. He whispered into the empty room, "I ruined everything." By morning, Jean Huan hadn't slept. His eyes were red, his hair loose, his tattoos stark against his pale skin. But he wasn't thinking like a mafia leader. He was thinking like a broken man who had found the woman he lost. He wanted to see her, not to flirt, not to conquer, to confess, to explain. But he also knew something else with painful clarity. She might not care. She might never forgive him. She might tell him again to get lost. Still, he needed to try. At 10 a.m., Jennifer sat on her balcony, working on her laptop. She wore a loose shirt, shorts, and glasses, soft, calm, glowing in the morning light. Nala played with her dolls on the carpet. The peaceful life she created. Jennifer didn't think about the man from the beach. She had already dismissed him mentally. Another arrogant Korean chaebol type who thought every woman wanted him. She only thought about work, her daughter, her growth. She wasn't looking for love. Not anymore. She had everything: money, peace, routine, safety. She didn't want a man to disrupt that, especially a man who walked around like he owned the sun. Her phone buzzed. Estate alert notification. Visitor approaching Villa 34. She frowned. She wasn't expecting anyone. Before she could check the camera, the doorbell rang. "Mommy, someone is here," Nala chirped. Jennifer stood up slowly. When she opened the door, she froze. Jean Huan stood there, but not the arrogant version. Not the shirtless tattooed show-off. Not the man who strutted around with ego dripping out of his pores. This version looked lost. His hair was tied neatly. He wore a dark sweatshirt and clean jeans. No smirk, no pride, no demanding tone. His eyes held something she had never seen from him. Naked vulnerability. "Jennifer," he said softly. She blinked. Didn't I warn you? Just listen, he whispered. His voice cracked. Her breath paused. She had never heard a Korean man talk like that. Not one from this neighborhood. Anyway, I know you don't want me here, he said. And I understand why. She crossed her arms. You understand nothing. He swallowed hard. Then he did something unexpected. He bowed. A full, deep, respectful bow. The kind Koreans do only when they are sincerely apologizing. Jennifer's eyes widened. I'm sorry, he said quietly, for everything I did, for acting like an idiot, for disrespecting you. She didn't expect that. Not from him. Before she could respond, he lifted his head, eyes full of something raw. Do you remember Canada? Jennifer's heart skipped. Canada? She stared at him properly now. Not at the tattoos, not at the muscles, not at the dangerous aura, but at his face, his jawline, his eyes, his nose, the way one eyebrow arched slightly higher, the small scar near his lip, a scar she remembered teasing him about when they were students. Her breath stopped. No, couldn't be. Her voice trembled slightly. Say your name. Your full name. He swallowed. John Jean Hwan. The world tilted. Jennifer stepped back, hand flying to her mouth. No, this couldn't be. Her Jean? Her first love? The boy who used to help her study accounting? The boy who used to kiss her hand in the library? The boy who vanished without a goodbye. She stared at the man in front of her. The long hair, the tattoos, the dangerous presence, and suddenly his face shifted in her mind. She saw the younger version. Softer, gentler, warm. Her knees weakened. Why? She whispered, voice breaking. Why did you leave me? He flinched as if the question stabbed him. I didn't want to, he said. Then why? He looked down. I was called home. My brother died. I had to take over the family business. Everything happened too fast. I didn't even know how to say goodbye. She clenched her jaw. So you just disappeared. I was a coward, he whispered. And you deserved better. Silence. Sharp. Pain-filled. Unfinished. Nala peeked at the door. Mommy? Who is he? Jennifer snapped out of her frozen state. A stranger, she said quickly. Back inside. Nala obeyed, sensing the tension. Jennifer turned back to him. Her voice was cold now. I don't care if we knew each other before. That was a lifetime ago. We're not those people anymore. He nodded slowly. I know. And whatever this is, she said firmly, it ends here. Please don't contact me again. He closed his eyes for a moment of silent, painful acceptance. Then he whispered, I'm sorry, Jennifer. Truly. And he walked away. But Jennifer didn't know something. As he walked, the guilt inside him grew so heavy, so consuming, so desperate, that it would push him to do something reckless, something stupid, something that would drag both their lives into a storm. Because Jean Hwan believed losing her once was fate. Losing her again? Impossible. And this time, his obsession would become dangerous. Deadly dangerous. The estate was quiet that morning. The soft sunlight draped the villas in gold and the faint breeze rustled the palm trees. It was a perfect day, the kind that made people forget the world outside, forget the chaos, forget the dangers. But not for Jean Hwan. He had already gathered everything about Jennifer. Villa 34, routines, habits, even her favorite coffee from the nearby cafe. Security cameras, estate logs, social media profiles. Nothing escaped his notice. For a man used to controlling empires, it had been almost too easy. But this wasn't about control. This was different. He wasn't here for power. He wasn't here to humiliate her. He just wanted her attention, her notice, her acknowledgement. Something he hadn't gotten in years. Something he hadn't known he missed until now. From a distance, he watched her daughter, Nala, playing in the small estate playground. The little girl's laughter carried across the sand-colored courtyard, soft yet piercing to him. She reminded him of Jennifer at that age. Bold, carefree, innocent. He could see the same spark in her eyes, the same determination in the way she kicked the ball, the same mischievous tilt of her head. Jean Hwan's chest tightened. She's hers, he whispered, almost reverently. The reason she is still untouchable. And in that moment, he made a reckless decision. Not cruel, not violent, just bold. Just enough to get Jennifer's attention. He approached the playground slowly, arms relaxed, face calm. Children turned to stare at the tall, tattooed man, but he ignored them. He smiled softly at Nala. "Hey there," he said in gentle Korean. Kneeling down to meet her eyes, Nala froze for a second. Her instinct whispered caution, but she saw no threat in him. She only saw the stranger kneeling, smiling, handing her a small chocolate bar wrapped neatly in gold foil. "Want one?" he asked. Nala hesitated, then nodded. She took the chocolate and unwrapped it, eyes lighting up. He lifted her to a corner. From a distance, Jennifer noticed the interaction immediately. "Who is that?" she called out, her voice tight, sharp with suspicion. Nala waved at her mother, giggling. Jennifer's heart skipped. Her mind recognized the tattoos, the long hair, the silhouette. Her stomach dropped. And then she saw him, Jean Huan, standing a few steps away, as calm and composed as a predator waiting. She narrowed her eyes. "What are you doing with my daughter?" she shouted, storming toward him. He looked at her and raised a hand as if to stop her. "Relax," he said softly. "She's fine. I'm not hurting her." Jennifer didn't listen. She reached Nala and grabbed her hand. "Step away from her. Now." Jean Huan's lips curved into a small, calm smile. "Actually," he said, tilting his head, "I thought it might be easier if she came with me for a few minutes." Jennifer's eyes widened. "What? No, absolutely not." "Relax," he repeated, this time kneeling to Nala's level again. "We're just going to walk a bit. Mommy can watch." Nala looked at him curiously. Something about his calm, gentle demeanor made her hesitate. "Come on," he whispered, taking her small hand. Jennifer's blood boiled. She rushed forward, trying to pull Nala back. But Jean Huan was prepared. He didn't pull or fight. He just walked. Slowly, calmly, deliberately, holding Nala's hand in a way that made it clear there was no harm, yet enough to grab her attention. "You're crazy," Jennifer screamed. "Not crazy," he said softly, barely audible. "Intentional." Jennifer's heart raced. She ran alongside him, her robe flowing behind her. Nala laughing lightly, sensing a game. Residents had begun noticing. Whispers spread across balconies. Security guards started moving in. But Jean Huan didn't panic. He smiled faintly at the chaos. He led Nala down the villa's private path to a small, secluded garden nearby. Jennifer followed, out of breath. "Now," she shouted. "Release my daughter." He stopped, Nala in hand. He looked at Jennifer, calm, gentle. "Jennifer," he said, his voice low, sincere. "I just wanted your attention. I wanted you to notice me." Jennifer froze. "You kidnapped my child," she spat. "No," he said softly, kneeling down again. "I brought her here safely. She's fine. See? She's smiling. She trusts me. I just needed you to look at me for more than a second on the beach." Jennifer's eyes burned with fury. What is wrong with you?" He looked at her earnestly. "Nothing is wrong with me. It's you I need to see. It's always been you." Jennifer's legs wobbled. Anger, confusion, and something else. Something she didn't want to admit, churned in her stomach. "You have no right," she whispered, grabbing Nala's hand firmly. He nodded. "I know, and I won't push further. But please, look at me. Really look." Nala looked between them, sensing tension. "Mommy, he's not mean," she said softly. Jennifer's chest tightened. The way he handled her daughter, gently, carefully, confused her further. This man, this mafia lord who could crush entire gangs with a word, handled her child like she was fragile crystal. Something stirred deep inside her, but her anger surged back. "You are insane," she said, "and I swear, if you ever touch us again, I'm not going to hurt you," he said calmly. "I promise, but I can't stop thinking about you. Not now. Not ever." Jennifer stepped back, seething. "Get out of my sight," she hissed. "Before I call security." Jean Huan didn't move. He watched her, letting her rage flow like a storm, understanding that this woman, this black queen who laughed in the face of his ego, was unshakable. After a long moment, he slowly released Nala's hand and stood. "Fine," he said softly. "I'll go. But I will not give up on you, Jennifer. Not now. Not ever." Jennifer's eyes narrowed. "Try, and I will make sure you regret it," she said. He smiled faintly, almost a smirk, and walked away. Jennifer pulled Nala close. Her daughter hugged her tightly. "You okay, Mommy?" Nala asked. Jennifer nodded, her mind spinning. "He's dangerous," she whispered. "And he's insane." Yet deep down, a small spark of curiosity stirred. He had changed. She could feel it. Something about him wasn't the arrogant, lust-driven man from the beach. Something else. And that thought terrified her. The estate was unusually quiet after the morning chaos. Nala had been safely returned to Jennifer, but the tension in the air was almost palpable. Birds chirped nervously, as if aware of the storm that had just passed. Jennifer paced her balcony, arms crossed, eyes scanning the horizon, as if the mere sight of Jean Huan might trigger another stunt. Her heart was still racing from what had just happened. He had dared to take her daughter, even if only for a few minutes. Even if he had been gentle. Even if he had said nothing harmful. Jennifer's fury burned brighter than the morning sun. "He's insane," she muttered, gripping Nala's hand tightly. "Absolutely insane. Who does that?" Nala, oblivious to the danger her mother felt, held her doll and hummed softly. Jennifer's mind raced. She couldn't shake the image of Jean Huan kneeling, smiling at her daughter like he owned her trust. That calm, controlled demeanor he displayed with her child was almost magnetic. And that made her blood boil even more. He had changed. That much was clear. But Jennifer didn't care. She wasn't going to let herself be captivated again. Not after all these years of building her life alone. She had her freedom, her money, her career. She had her peace. And she would not allow a man, no matter how handsome, dangerous, or familiar, to disrupt it. Jean Huan, on the other hand, returned to his penthouse in silence. The walk back had been long. The estate security had been there, but he had already cleared any misunderstanding. Nala had been safe. No one suspected a thing. But inside, his mind was a storm of desire, guilt, and obsession. He knew he had crossed a line. Kidnapping, even if gentle, was reckless. He murmured to himself, pacing. But she had to notice me. She had to understand I am different now. That I am not the boy she once knew. His tattoos reflected the sunlight streaming through the penthouse window. But today they didn't intimidate him. They reminded him of who he had become. Dangerous, yes, but also capable of deep emotion, of connection. And Jennifer was the catalyst. He could not get her out of his mind. Not her voice, not her laughter. Not the way she had glared at him with equal parts fury and disbelief. Not the way she had protected her daughter with unwavering strength. Every detail haunted him, and he realized something he had never admitted before. He didn't just want her. He needed her. Meanwhile, Jennifer was already drafting security upgrades. New cameras, restricted access points, stricter visitor protocols. Her daughter's safety was paramount. She would not allow another stunt like today. Still, the memory of Jean Huan's eyes lingered. Vulnerable, honest, intense, human. She shook her head. No, she would not think of him like that. He was dangerous. He could destroy everything. Yet part of her wanted answers. Why had he come? Why had he risked everything for a moment with her daughter? And the strangest thought hit her. He had changed. The boy she had once loved in Canada had vanished years ago. The man who stood before her today was something else entirely, and she wasn't sure if she hated it or feared it. Jean Huan, unable to contain himself, returned the next day. He didn't approach her directly. He lingered near her villa at a distance, watching, waiting, studying. He had already gathered all her routines. He knew when she left for grocery runs, when she went to the playground with Nala, even her favorite coffee breaks. Every detail was logged in his mind. But he didn't follow for control anymore. He followed because he had to understand her. From the shadows, he watched Jennifer coaching Nala on how to ride her bicycle. She laughed at her daughter's wobbling attempts, the soft curls of her hair bouncing with every push. Jinhuan's chest tightened. The child reminded him of Jennifer herself. Confident, unyielding, unafraid. And he realized, seeing her with Nala, he understood the stakes. She had everything to lose, and he would never risk hurting her. Yet he still wanted her. He wanted her attention, her laughter, her acknowledgement. He wanted her in a way he had never wanted anyone. Later that evening, he left a small, discreet gift on her doorstep. Nothing huge, nothing extravagant. Just a delicate, hand-carved wooden figure, the kind that spoke of thoughtfulness rather than ego. When Jennifer found it, she was furious. "Is this a joke?" she muttered, cradling Nala in her arms. The gift carried no note, no explanation. But she knew it was him. The style, the precision, the detail. Only Jinhuan would dare leave something without claiming it. Nala peeked at her mother. "Mommy, he's nice," she said softly. Jennifer's glare could have shattered steel. "Nice?" she hissed. "Kidnapping is not nice." Her hands trembled slightly, not from fear, but from the storm inside her. Rage, confusion, something else she refused to name. Jinhuan, meanwhile, returned to his penthouse with a mixture of satisfaction and frustration. Jennifer had seen the gift. She had known it was from him. She had not screamed, not called security, not even reported him to the estate head. That small acknowledgement, however indirect, fed his obsession. He replayed her expression again and again. The moment of fury, the blink of surprise, the tension in her jaw. He was addicted, and he knew what he needed to do next. The days that followed were a delicate dance. Jennifer increased her security, made stricter schedules, and monitored Nala closely. Jinhuan studied her, watched her routines, stayed in the shadows. Every glance, every gesture, every laugh of Nala's was a spark that ignited his desire to reach her, to speak to her, to prove that he had changed. And Jennifer, she hated that she thought about him at all. She hated that her chest sometimes tightened when she imagined him near Nala, smiling gently. She hated that part of her mind admitted, just for a moment, that he had power over her emotions again. She hated him, she loved him, and that was the danger.
Hey besties, this is just the beginning. Who is ready for episode 2? Can you like, subscribe and share?